I'll see you in hell.
Tell him Freddy sent you.
Alright, so getting started on this creepy classic, you can totally skip this step, but for fear of an accidental waxing job, I'm covering my brows. Again, completely optional. You can also just avoid them in general, or if you don't have any of them to start, that's cool too. No judgment here, obviously. Step 2 is putting your hair up. You can also add a bald cap at this point if you're wanting to go full out with this look, but seeing as how I was filming this before going to work, I decided against it. You'll know it's time for step 3 when you start to look like a thumb. Now, for step 3, hydrate yourself, always. And now for the actual helpful bit, you're going to start out with some SFX gelatin. This one I actually made myself, and I added just a bit of fake blood into it during the mixing process, but you could totally add something like red cream paint, red water-activated paint, red lipsticks, whatever red products you want. You'll also need a tongue depressor, aka a popsicle stick. Personally, I only used one, but I would recommend keeping a few handy, as well as cotton rounds. This is going to give us the texture that we want. And now to get started, I'm going in small sections with my gelatin, mainly because it's easier to work with in smaller sections, but also because liquefied gelatin is both sticky and slightly manageable, whereas set gelatin is neither of those things. And this is where I realized I needed to both take out my piercings and hide my septum piercing, because I'm pretty sure Freddy Krueger doesn't actually have any piercings, not even in his dreams. So take those out because they will not help you out with this look. It was this moment that I realized that there was actually a hummingbird right outside my window, and then it just flew away. And be sure when you're applying this to your skin, it's warm enough to work with, but not too hot to the touch. So as long as it's liquefied, it will give us the effect that we're actually going for. But unlike when Freddy visits us in our dreams, if we burn ourselves, it will actually burn us. There's no going back here, so be careful. But I digress. So adding a layer of gelatin and ripping off a piece of cotton off of the cotton ball, and placing it on top, and then adding a sealing layer of gelatin over that, and doing that sporadically around my face, but mainly just placing the gelatin on there and carrying everything down my neck, and even slightly farther than my collar of my shirt, so it actually looks like it's going down my entire body versus just stopping abruptly. And for the next step, you're going to want to either use a foundation or a concealer and some type of beauty sponge or sponge in general. I'm just using a concealer by Colourpop, which I will have a review on soon enough on my channel. And I'm going to be using a beauty sponge to apply it because it's going to help us distribute the product more sporadic, which is a big concept on this tutorial, I suppose. And only really adding this to the high points of my face, kind of like a highlight. And you might be wondering, hey Sarah, why did you color the gelatin red if you're just going to add skin color over top of it? And to that I say, because it's a lot easier to add color as almost a highlight over the top of something than to try to squeeze into all the little crevices and nooks that we would be left with essentially. So I'm doing the same amount of steps, but making one of the steps a little bit faster, if that makes sense. And to add even more gross factor to this look, I'm using what I think is a zombie stack from Spirit Halloween, but specifically the off yellow color. So you can honestly use any yellow cream paint or water activated paint. I'm using my finger to apply it as well. And I'm only putting this on a few places because it's actually going to make the burn look more gory and recent, which is cool, but it's not exactly the look we're going for here. So that last step is obviously very optional, but this is going to be your ending result. Just add a hat onto it and you're pretty much good to go. I also got this glove from Value Village, which was originally, I think, from maybe Spirit Halloween. I'm not sure, but I just added this and the look was done. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and I'll see you in the next one.